TJ McConnell. We just spoke about everything with the
TJ Two Phones.
TJ Two Phones, man. He's going to need it because he just got rewarded and got paid a 4-year extension with the Indiana Pacers. And the crazy part for me was this, that we always think about him, of course, because of how long he spent here in Philadelphia. He's now been in Indiana for some years now, where they obviously look at him and he's theirs. He's no longer just the 76ers. He's really a part of that Indiana foundation of what they're doing. He's a big part of what they do, rewarded with a 4-year deal, $40+ million. So he's made some decent money for a guy, Kyle, who came out of nowhere, wasn't sure if he was even going to make the team. He thought he was going to get cut and during that his first time here with Brett Brown and crew. And man, has he really earned every penny that he has gotten, and good for him, TJ McConnell.
Yeah, look, and I think importantly, this should be obvious based on the deal he just got. He also has just gotten better as a player over the years. It's mostly been mastery of what he was already good at, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, TJ all of a sudden became a high volume 3-point guy or grew 4 inches and now he can defend wings or whatever. He plays excellent, maybe sub-elite point of attack defense. He's a good distributor. He's one of those guys that just pops up in the right places, especially after made baskets. Him and Jose Alvarado are basically in a class of their own as inbound thieves, where he just comes out of nowhere and whoop, there you go, quick bucket or a quick assist to somebody else on the perimeter after he does that. So he's great at that. He loves the Steve Nash under the basket, like drive to the rim, don't shoot, do the U-turn, and then distribute the ball back out to the perimeter. He's got a working mid-range shot. I think last year was his best season or close to his best season as a shooter from all areas of the floor ever. He shot like 55.5%, something like that. And really feels at home in this Indiana team under Rick Carlisle, where they just want to play pace. And he's comfortable in that type of setting as the guy who can take it, lead the break, the guy who will set you up in the half court if it doesn't pull off in that way. And obviously, like, having gotten to know TJ while he was here, having covered him for a little bit, you feel really good for a guy like that, who he was there during the single worst season that any of us have been alive for, right? So a lot of the talk at the time was like, oh, you need more veterans because you can't let these guys pick up losing habits and blah, blah, blah. And, maybe that ends up being true for some guys. TJ was just, blinders on, so like not fazed by anything going on around him, and came in with the same type of attitude every single day, no matter what the score was, no matter who they were playing. And I think you've seen now how that has paid off, right? Like the level of consistency that he brought as a competitor every single day is what brought him to this point. So obviously what I think is a feel-good story, right? Like, guy barely makes the league and then turns into, he's going to be like a 10-year vet having made like $90 million or something crazy, which is just, that's unfathomable given when we were watching him at the time, all these guys going in and out of the lineup in 2015, 16, and TJ emerges as one of the great success stories of that period.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this is a guy who, based on physical profile, has almost no business being in the NBA. Just in terms of his size, his speed, like, he's not elite at really anything physically. He's not a, deadly shooter from the perimeter to make up for it. He got there because he worked his butt off, and he plays hard pretty much every time he steps on the floor. And that kind of consistency has earned him a lot of money. And it really is a fun story. It's something Kyle's mentioned this in the past, but I think people like rooting for people who we look at and we go like, they don't look that different than me. Like, a lot of the people that dominate the NBA, they look like superheroes. And, I think part of the reason Steph Curry was so popular is because he looked at least like normal height and normal build. Kyle has always brought up,
funny because I like to throw water on that a little bit, like son of an NBA player.
Right. He had opportunities that
Well, yes,
Most
more
West End,
relatable to an everyman
Yes.
than LeBron
But-
or whoever.
where I was getting at, TJ is even more relatable because he wasn't born to an NBA family. Like, he didn't have a chance to spend his entire life growing up around the game with no real feel of failure because he didn't have that financial security. He's not one of the best shooters to ever play. He looks like somebody that you picked up off the bar. And now look, he's 6'2", 6'3". He's quicker than ever. He's still in a top tier athletically, but not so far that you can't at least relate to it. And he really did, like I said, just get there through hard work, through determination, through consistency in his effort. And he's a good guy, and it's good to see him rewarded for it. I'm not sure I'd want that contract because he's going to be being paid until he's 37 by the end of it. But I'm very happy for him.
Man, I didn't even think
Darkness
about that. He's
asked-
so old at this point.
Yeah, he is.
He's older
He
than
was
you
a-
think. Yeah.
He was a senior, yes, coming out of Arizona. He was a senior. Kyle Darkness asked, does he pass the height test, the Kyle Neubeck height test?
Ooh.
Well, listen, it's a
It's
different
close.
team, right? So I'm not sure what is TJ's actual. I think I'm taller than TJ. If I remember correctly.
Well, Derek, you just said 6'3.5", maybe somewhere around there. So I would say 6'2", 6'3".
I was thinking 6'2". It's right around there.
Yeah, 6'2", 6'3".
Basketball Reference says 6'1", so I need to find what his actual measurements are. That's the key, because all these, even though the NBA was like, oh, we're going to try to regulate this, I still feel like there are some shenanigans afoot when it comes to what guys are chalking or clocking in.
Yeah, what was the one at the draft?
He was under 6'1" he was under 6'1" without shoes, 6'2" with shoes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, he does not pass the Kyle Neubeck height test, but he plays for the Pacers. So it doesn't really matter.
Right. He's not playing Tyrese Maxey. That's the difference.
And he plays bigger than his height. So the guy, look, man, just seeing him from the very beginning, as we all have, all three of us being around him and just talking about how cool the guy is too. And speaking again, he thought he was going to get cut when he was first here that first year. He did not think he was going to make the team. He thought when they were getting ready to come talk to him that he was getting his walking papers, and he was able to stick around, make some key baskets. We still see that shot against the Knicks along the baseline, and that great photo of Joel basically choking him right there after making that shot against the Knicks. That's one that so many people still reference back to. The fact that he still has the relationship here with the Sixer fans when he comes to town is really cool. And it's a really great story. The guy's a good guy, just a really cool dude. Anytime you ask him for anything, he was always readily available. Kyle just talked about him, just speaking to him in the locker room. Never say no. He would. Yeah, he just never says no. He was always willing to talk about basketball. He was willing to talk about anything else. And so when you see a guy like that come from where he came from, leaving Duquesne, right? Smaller program, going to a bigger program at Arizona, starring there at Arizona with other players who were had bigger star names than he did. And he's the one that has had the longevity in the NBA, fighting and scratching and clawing literally his way to where he is right now. And you said it, $90 million for TJ McConnell over the course of the life of his career. I would have never guessed that. And even thinking back to last season, where they were talking about, should he be traded to the Phoenix Suns to be their starting point guard? Should he be traded to this other franchise to be their starting point guard? That's how much the NBA thinks about him, his style of play, how he adapts to the environment, the team that he's with, and makes them better, being able to run the team the way that he does. That's just a testament, again, to the hard work that he has put in to be in this spot. And even though he's with the Indiana Pacers, as you said, guys, earlier, it's hard not to root for him for all the stuff that he's done to get to this point.
We all silly like the mayor.